your life is on the line. When things continue to devolve and society is unraveling, when the price of gas is going through the roof, you can't get to work, you're going to need some assistance. And I promise you that doctrine ain't going to be the thing that save you. It's going to be, what do I always talk about, family? I just gave it away. Family. All right, shalom. Hey man, y'all know I'm a fan of some good music. I talk to my family. I have my cubs. They ain't really cubs no more. They young lions and lionesses. I just got a habit of calling them cubs. I talk to them and I ask them, yo, put on some music for me. Let me hear what you're listening to. And see, music is a way to put your finger on a pulse of where somebody is. Let me see what entertains you. Let me see what you're downloading, because that's what you're doing. You're downloading a message. It's a reason why you value the people that you listen to. So if you listen to that, don't stop, get it, don't stop, get it. Hey, it's a reason for that. Whatever the reason is, it is what it is, family. How y'all feeling today? I'm in a good place, man. Blessed be Yah that always causes us to triumph through his only begotten beloved son. I'm thankful for another day. I'm thankful that I'm the son of William. Yeah, y'all know the routine. Who was the son of Daniel? I go through my patriarchy. Peace be upon him. Who was the son of Freeman? Peace be upon him. Who was the son of George? I thank him for these great men. I thank him for my matriarch. I'm thankful for my family, for those that, understand that I will give my life for them and they give their life to me and will give it for me. So that's a beautiful thing, family. What's going on? How was everybody's week? I hope that your week was phenomenal. I had a very, very productive week. Big shout out to House of Daweed, who is sponsoring this segment. Man, the House of Daweed, man, we had a great week. I'm not going to be talking business on this, but, they sponsor this. All of our jewels, bracelets, watches, necklaces, all of this is House of Daweed. Ask yourself, family, who else do you know? Oh, no, do me a favor. Like and share the video. But also, I want y'all to go to the website. Go to houseofdaweed.com. HOUSEOFDAWID. I'm not asking you to purchase. Houseofdaweed.com. I'm not asking you to purchase. I'm not asking you for anything. All I want you to do is just to look at the content of House of Daweed, and then maybe just type in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, watching this on Facebook. Go to houseofdaweed.com and you tell me somebody that you know that will be consistent with the caliber that we putting out, the caliber of work that we putting out. Just let me know that. I'd like to get your opinion on it. Who would be I don't want to say a rival, but would compete with us on a business, from a business standpoint? Just curious where your mind goes. Who do you know? What other black jewelry designer or Hebrew jewelry designer do you know that has earned your business? And, what can we do to earn your business? So that's just a conversation that we going to, have moving forward. I'm not trying to sell nobody. Just, hey, look out there. We try to put ourselves in a position where you won't have to go to Jared Jewelers. You won't have to go to these different places. But yeah, this segment was sponsored by House of Daweed. Family, appreciate you guys for rocking with me on this Friday night. I was going to say I won't be before you long, but I got time tonight. Shabbat shalom to those that honor the Most High, that honor the Sabbath, that, people keep the Sabbath at different times. Some people keep it from sundown to sundown. Some people keep it from sun up to sundown. Hey, that matters. That doesn't matter to me. I know a lot of people that I respect that keep lunar Sabbath. Hey, love you. If it ain't your Shabbat, you can still give me a Shabbat shalom, family. Because I done been in these trenches. I've done the research. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But this is what we have to understand as the chosen people of Yah. And even if you're not rocking in the vibration, that your doctrine really doesn't matter when it comes down to the comes down. That when your life is on the line, when things continue to devolve and society is unraveling, when the price of gas is going through the roof, you can't get to work, you're going to need some assistance. And I promise you that doctrine ain't going to be the thing that save you. It's going to be, what do I always talk about, family? I just gave it away. Family. It's going to be, oh man, hold on. Let's wait for that to come back in. Bad connection. Sleek out, family. I'm struggle streaming out here. Maybe I need to come off of a Wi-Fi. Hold on one sec. Doom, 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 doom. Let me go to a different stream. Y'all stay with me. Hold on one second. Oh, that ain't working. Let's try this. That's what it is. Let me sip me a little bit of green tea. My apologies, family. Y'all know I'm struggle streaming. There's not a lot that I can do because we live out here in the sticks. I made a decision. To get out of the city, to get out of the ATL, to move, further out. With that comes some issues with not being able to get a strong signal, but I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. You have to decide. You have to decide to get yourself in a position where your family can be safe. So if my family's in a safer place yet, I got some issues with the Wi-Fi. Hey, I'll take that. Because the last place I lived, fam, let me tell y'all, man, I lived in Atlanta. I lived off of Camp Creek. Shalom, Sister Kim. Shalom, Sister Delta. Shabbat shalom. Blessings to your house. Blessings, Sister Cassie. Blessings to your house. Goodness. Let me try another method. Hold on, family. Sheesh, this is horrible. I may have to just kill the live stream, but it's all good. For y'all that's not catching it, I will have the rebroadcast. Let me tell y'all something about, I lived in the city. I lived in ATL and, the city limits proper. And to make a long story short, there was a UPS driver that was delivering some packages to my neighbor across the street. And let me tell y'all, man, the energy was just so different this day. I saw these guys across the street from me and they were, their energy was just, coming, from a certain background. When cats are working their way up to be able to do something. So I was washing my whip. I say, let me go up in here and change clothes real quick. I was getting ready to wash my whip, excuse me. Go change clothes. And while I'm up there changing clothes, I see the UPS driver pull up. I'm like, what is that truck? So I just take a peek out the window. Not a big deal. Moments later, I hear pop, pop. I'm like, what? So you know me, I'm in military mode. I got my cubs in the house. They really were cubs at that point. Going, we doing the business. Protectors. I didn't know what was going down, and I need to figure out what and just have a counter offensive. So I go out there and I find out that the UPS driver got shot by these guys, and I looked, and this guy was running on the side of my house. Like, what's really going on? It was really a bizarre situation, but he didn't die, at least to my knowledge. Maybe, he may have had some complications later, but he lived, and those guys, they chirped out, meaning they left the scene. But that in and of itself was a strong motivating factor for me to go ahead and make the necessary sacrifices to get my family out of the city. And then I got a word from above, from the Honorable Dr. Thomas Murray, who challenged me and challenged a lot of other men on some other things as to why it was prerequisite to come out from among them. So, hey, I moved out. So if I'm struggle streaming family, bear with me. Anyway, let's get into this. I want to talk to you guys about what's going on, like the week in review. The week in review. I know, well, maybe you're not. Wait, maybe you haven't. Maybe you've been so focused on, your life and, working and your skill set and family and all these other things, which I totally get it. But maybe you didn't know that we were right there on the cusp of, rock with me. I'm not going to say certain names because it'll end up getting flagged. We'll just say the Bears. The Bears attacked, a country that was on their border, and now they're breathing out threats to Denmark. We'll just say that, to Denmark, about them joining the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, about joining NATO. What does that mean? What are some of the implications of that? How have you felt the implications thus far? Have you felt it at the gas pump? Have you felt it at the grocery store? Where have you felt it in the supply chain? Because all these are different areas that are affecting the U.S. economy, which is in a downward spiral right now, whether you know it or not. Gas prices are through the roof. They came down, they settled down a little bit. But now they're on an uptick. Gas hit oil futures hit a all-time high. If you look at baby formula, some of you guys have children. I'm saying this because we need to challenge the paradigm from which we come from. We need to challenge the thing that we've been given, whether or not it's viable in today's society. Are the things that we've been given valuable to us, or are they valuable to the people that gave them to us? Do you follow what I mean? Who benefits from us subscribing to a certain level of irresponsibility and lack of preparedness? Do you want to be subject to those that would be your open enemy in fear and lack and want of all things? Food, water, shelter, clothing. How long do you want to nurse from the paps? I'll just say paps. I'm going to keep it clean. I'm gonna keep it clean. We got some young people on the line. How long are you going to nurse from the paps? And so they convinced a lot of our women that they didn't need to breastfeed. And now you're seeing that there's no baby formula on the store shelves. And a lot of the baby formula is going to the south of the border, to those that are not even your people, to those that can't even pay for it. The government is buying it all up for people who hadn't even paid a dime in taxes. How does that make you feel? Shout out to all of our nursing mothers, man, that understand what it's really, really about. I saw a news report where women were driving from Texas all the way up to Oklahoma, as far as Mississippi, to try to get baby formula. That is horrible. So the question is, what are you doing to prepare yourself for the times that we're living in? Or are you still hoping, wishing, and praying that things will return back to 2019, or maybe the early 2000s, or maybe the 90s, or maybe even further, the 80s, where everybody was walking around singing Beat It and, moonwalking, having jackets on with a whole bunch of zippers like they was Michael Jackson. What are you preparing your family for? And if you're not preparing them for the times that we're living in, are you doing them a disservice, family? Because this conflict is going to impact our life. Nay, I would say that it's already impacting our life, and you need to have a viable contingency plan. Meaning, what are you going to do if certain things happen? How are you preparing for the road that lies ahead? And I want to tell you, family, that our ancestors, from an ancestral perspective, and especially from a patriarchal perspective, prayer is not a strategy. From what I found in the text, you should do everything that you can do, and then when you can no longer do, that's when the Most High will step in. It was put to me this way: prepare to live your life as if the Most High will not save you. I'm going to say that again. Prepare to live your life as if the Most High will not save you. Does that exclude him from the process? Absolutely not. It means that I'm going to live my life on principles over passion. I posted that on social media, on Facebook today. I should have put it on the gram. I'm going to live my life based on principles, not passion. Passion meaning the things that kind of engages my drive, that engages maybe even my mind and my heart, that I want to do, that I may not have been authorized to perform because it's contrary to the principles that the Most High has put in place, and actually negates it because he said that seed time and harvest, sowing and reaping, is going to be around forever. So if you plant something, you must reap it. Therefore, we want to plant righteous seed, family. We want to plant those things that's going to yield a harvest. And maybe your passion may give you temporary gratification. And I had to clarify in the comments, I'm not talking about just sexual appetites. I'm talking about the things that drive you, that causes you to engage your motor, and the train left the station, and maybe the Most High did not even authorize that you move. If you know that you need to wait on the Most High before you move, let me get just a quick thumbs up in the chat. Just a thumbs up if you know and you're willing to wait on the Most High. Now, waiting is not a passive thing. Waiting is actually very engaged. It's not just purely passive. To wait takes extreme patience. I'm not talking about being the scripture says being, godliness with contentment is great gain, but you're not complacent. You don't want to be complacent where you see everything going on around you, and you should not be like an ostrich. And if you're connected to the Most High, then I want to encourage you that surely he will do nothing except he reveal it first to his prophets. Is that all right? That you should be able to have somebody around you that got their finger on a pulse of what's going on, that puts themselves in a submissive, sacrificial position where the Father can communicate to them what he's doing in the earth. And that's why we have to come together as a family. Family is going to be a big part of the salvation of Israel. I'm going to say that again. Family is going to be a big part of the salvation of Israel. Some people act as if they don't understand why I talk about family so much. Let me tell you why. Amos 3:2. Only you have I known out of all the families in the earth. Only you, Israel. He looks at the nation of Israel as a family. How did he start that family? Hajj, I'm glad that you asked. He started it with Yaakov, with Jacob. Jacob had 4 wives. Those 4 wives produced 12 sons and a daughter. That's when we became a nation. From Jacob, then we go back to Isaac, then we go back to Abraham, the patriarch. That's how we became a family. Don't ever let anyone speak down on your patriarchs and your fathers and put an indictment on him and your fathers by the way that the Most High started this nation. So out of all the families of the earth, only you have I known. I want you guys to understand that families run the world. You know, in my, earlier days, I was heavy into military science. I was heavy into the occult, not being a part of the occult, but studying, because I wanted to understand who ran the world. Thank y'all for rocking with me, coming back in. All I said was, in my earlier days, I studied military science as well as, occult literature, as well as, a lot of this New World Order stuff, for the purpose of understanding who ran the world. And it always went back to the 13 families. It always went back to families. It went back to the Rothschilds, to the Rockefellers, to the Kennedys, to the to the Bushes, to the Warburgs, to the, who else? I can't remember. I don't even want to call out all these names. The Vanderbilts, the Fords, the JP Morgan Chases. It always went back to families, to men that were able to come together with their group and exert influence in the earth. It's the same model that the Most High used. So I honor the Most High because I believe in families. And if you believe in families, come on, give me a 7 in chat. Let me get a 7 in chat. I put something out there on Facebook, and a brother came in and said, families are not going to save us. Only the Most High is going to come down and save us. And I started to get on there and challenge the brother, but I don't know him. I don't feel as if I have a responsibility, nay, even an obligation, because this man, he's not in relationship with me. He's not in covenant with me. It sounded like to me, hey, shalom, brother, Aki Hukana, Yashra Allah, shout out, blessings to you and your household. Love you, man. It sounds like to me, it was like the Hebrew rapture. Man, you would be amazed at how many Hebrews really believe in some type of rapture incident where the Most High is just going to swoop down and save them. They don't have to participate in anything. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to prepare. They don't have to have the right mindset, because he's going to forgive them of everything that they've done. They haven't tried to prepare. That's not necessary. But it's as if they've never read the parable of the 10 virgins, 5 wise and 5 foolish. Maybe it's just me, but I see these things very, very clear. So let's keep it moving, family. The question is, What are you doing to prepare for the times ahead? Are you prepared? So the question is, what are you doing to prepare you and to prepare your family for the times ahead? Are you storing water? Are you storing food? If so, are you getting freeze dried food? Are you getting flashlights? You're getting batteries, you're getting rice, you're getting beans, you're getting, these type of things to prepare yourself. I don't want to I would just say kinetic energy weapons. Are you getting these things? Because nothing is getting less expensive, family. Let's just be honest. So the question is, what are you doing? Are you connecting yourself to people that may have some strategies, some tactics, some techniques that could benefit you? Or are you just going and, to your local church, to your local assembly, to your local Knesset, you're jumping around, you're having a good time, you're playing the drums and you're dancing, and then you go back home and you continue life as usual? I'm not speaking condemnatory or derisive or abrasive toward anyone that does that. All I'm saying is, have you considered a more excellent way? Now, with everything that's going on in the supply chain, family, let's look at the supply chain. I could, maybe I'll do this. I'm going to share my screen. We know that the supply chain is crazy. And let me say this, man, I had, even with, the House of Dawit, a lot of things we get from China. A lot of things comes from there, and it is not easy. It takes an excessive and exorbitant amount of time for things to get back. It's not easy being, in competition. I don't want to say competition. Let me strike that. It's not easy performing business when you have to get things from China, because things from here are just so difficult. All right, let me come off Wi-Fi. Goodness. It is what it is. I will, for everyone that's rocking with me on Facebook, I have to tap back in later. Let me keep this going. I'm really not going to talk about, I talked about a little bit of HOD, but I'm going to keep going. All right, y'all. Have y'all looked at the stock market? Maybe I will share my screen. Have you looked at the stock market? I'm going to read this article. Stock market from Kiplinger. Let me share this screen. I'm going to share this screen. All right, there we go. I'm going to share this screen, family, real quick. Stock market today, stocks stumble as inflation remains red hot. So we know that inflation has been through the roof. We know that inflation is only increasing, so that means that your buying power is decreasing. So what are you doing to try to mitigate some of those losses? I was invested in the stock market. I was invested in crypto. Crypto took a huge hit. Huge hit. Bitcoin went from 65,000 to down to 28,000. It's wiping people out. So the question is, what are you doing to mitigate some of these losses? This article is just sharing that the consumer price index at the Choppy Day Stocks and Investors unpack the latest consumer price index. Data released by the Labor Department this morning showed that prices consumers paid for goods and services in April rose at an annual rate of 8.3%, down from March, where it was 8.5%. 0.2% improvement. to mark the first drop in inflation in 8 months. So it just goes on to talk about a drop in gas prices, as well as the consumer price index, which is basically the consumer's faith in the market, as well as the Dow Jones has been down 3.2%. Goodness. Hold on. Let's switch this out. All right. Just another live stream real quick. It says that the NASDAQ was down 3.2% at 11,364. The S&P 500 index was off 1.7% at 3,935. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average was 1% lower at 31,834. So this is a chart and a graph of the decline of the Dow Jones, S&P, and the NASDAQ. So the only question is, how are we, if we're seeing these things coming, if we're seeing a slow, methodical decline in things that were once very sure, what are you doing to try to, once again, reduce the impact of these things on your family? Because, hey, man, I still have stocks. They took a hit. I had crypto, took a big hit. So now I have to adjust, and I can't act like it's a different time. See, you have to be very, very present. Be present. Bitcoin slid below 30,000 for the first time. Y'all see that right there? Since July 2021, down 5.7%. It did slide below 30,000. So there isn't a lot of sure things. Shout out to my brothers, Ariyahu and Banks and Land Crypto, for what these brothers are doing. Trying to encourage people to get land. That's what I did. I went and I bought land, and that land is multiplying. It's increasing 30%, sometimes 50%. Then you'll be able to sell it for a profit in the future, should you have a desire to do so. So that's just an option. Those are some things that we do. We believe in land. Shout out to all of those that are trying to get land. I had to make a disclaimer. I had to share the subtle difference between what we do in RTA. We believe that a man should dwell on his own land, and that patriarch should be able to give his sons land as an inheritance. That's why we don't practice some of the other models that are out there that, people come together and we're just going to all buy land together and have one big, family community. I'm not against that, for the record. People do what they do. And I pray that the Most High will strengthen your hands and allow you to be successful at it. However, there's a difference in the way that I was taught to operate by my beloved elder, the Honorable Dr. Thomas Murray, the preeminent patriarch for me that I've, have come in contact with. And I've come in contact with a lot of Hebrews, a lot of Israelites, a lot of Christians, a lot of Muslims. So we see these things. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me move this out of the way. Also, let me go to this right here. I wanted to go to this chart. Shout out to, I'm not going to name drop. I received a challenge, not a challenge, a critique to not speak about things without, sometimes publishing data and statistics. And I accepted that. So I made a comment where I said that living on the continent, living in Africa may be safer than the United States. And so we have to qualify this data. How do you qualify a statement that says that it's safer to live in Africa than it is in the United States? So I wanted to pull this chart, and you guys can't really see it. You'll see it on a rebroadcast, family, and I'll just read what it is. This is from nationalmaster.com, and it goes by countries. And what it does, it breaks down statistics of criminal activity, the levels of criminality, cannabis use, the murder rate, police officers, the rape rate. So let me give you an example. Comparatively, South Africa versus the United States. Let's just pick some things. Drug use. Annual cannabis drug use. We got some weed smokers over here. South Africa, only 4.3% of the population. They ranked 13th worldwide versus the United States. It was 13.7. And I believe that's a very low number, which is 3 times higher than South Africa. But getting to some of the statistics that matter a little bit more when we look at the rape rate. 132.4, which is 5 times higher than the United States, that came in 27.3. And this is per 100,000 persons that were sampled. So the U.S. ranked 9th in terms of rape. South Africa ranked number 1 out of a lot of these countries. Now, the racial element inside of here, family, is that South Africa, which is almost a European colony. Well, it was for the most part, but that's the only country where they gathered this data from. So, yeah, take that for what it is. All right. So, but you saw that the rape rate was very, very high. But now let's look at the total crimes. The total crimes is 2.68 million for South Africa, which is ranked 7th. And then in America, it's 11.8 million. They ranked number 1 in terms of overall criminality. America is a very crime-ridden nation that was started from a position of violence and genocide. So that goes back to the principle of seed time and harvest. You have to reap what you sow. So in terms of violent crimes and gun crimes, South Africa ranked 48th, 12.7% of the populace, versus the United States ranked number 1 in terms of violent crimes, more specifically gun crimes. They were 88.8. That's 7 times higher than that of South Africa. So I'm reading these stats and I'm showing the graph on, if you catch the stream after this, you'll be able to see it. It's to just qualify the statement that I made to show that in areas that there are some areas where you may be safe, and then you can break it down in terms of age, in terms of social demographic. But we know that we kind of, live a set apart lifestyle. So we're not out there clubbing and partying and putting ourselves in a position of being compromised. However, that does not mean that crime will not come knocking at our door. But what it does do, it puts distance between us and those that will perpetuate said violence. And if I can increase the distance between me and a criminal, I reduce the likelihood of it happening to me. Does that make sense, family? So And these, some of these sources were the International Statistics of Crime and Justice, European Institute of Crime Prevention and Control, Wikipedia, several Wikipedia articles, but also the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime. I may paste this link into the actual live that's going on YouTube. So I wanted to just share that piece of information, because it's important to make sure that you're credible in the things that you say. And I never want to compromise my credibility or just be too opinionated. Everybody got an opinion. It's like a navel. We'll just say an umbilical cord or a butthole. Yeah. Everybody has an opinion, but we want to make sure that we qualify these things. All right. So family, if you're just joining us, I've just been sharing several things that's been on my heart, just kind of talking about what's going on, somewhat of a weekend review. A weekend review, just looking at everything that is going on. If we look at the, war, the potentiality of WW3, that is upon us. I had another chart at which I'm still sharing my screen, family. We can look at the number of mass shootings in the United States. The number of mass shootings in the United States versus other nations, other countries. So that being said, I just wanted to like we say, just give some receipts. Thank you, Andrea. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. All right. What was the other thing that I wanted to share? Anybody got any questions, any comments, anything y'all want to tap in on? Hey, the NBA finals. I know some people not watching. They might have to catch the rebroadcast because of the NBA finals, watching Steph Curry do his thing. Chef Curry, I get it. I ain't mad at nobody. That's what you choose to do with your time. So it was just a quick weekend review. We talked about the benefit of family. Let me share this screen and maybe I'll turn my phone around so that you guys can see this. Let me go here. I want to share this clip. Boom. Doom, doom. Let me share that window. Okay. This is why family is so important, y'all. Let me flip this. This is why family is so important. This is what I've been talking about. Hey, shalom to Hokma. You want to join? Okay. I ain't mad at that. Let me bring you on camera. We're talking about the Black household income. This is why family is so important. Let me get my wife on deck. Let me send her that and add her. And we're talking about the Black household income. This is why family is so important and why they attack family so aggressively. Right. If you look at the percentage of households with earnings, then you look at the median household income of our people. The median household income is $43,000. Oh, I sent you. Hold on. It's $43,000 versus married couples. It is. What is that? $81,000 for Black families. You hold on. I think that my wife just declined the invite. Not sure why. But $81,000 versus a single woman head of household. That number drops down to $35,000, family. This is why family is so important. This is why you must needs consider coming together and not going about your life in this single independent woman mindset or single independent man mindset. Family is the foundation of a strong nation. So I'll always reach out and pull these stats. Hold on. I think I got another one. Boom, boom, boom. That's the same one. I just pulled that. I don't need that. These stats are mad important when it comes down. And this is from blackdemographics.com. I like to go to blackdemographics.com because they have a lot of good intel, a lot of good information that you can readily access for reference. And you need to be able to have a reference to qualify what you're saying to ensure that it's in line with the numbers and it's not just this emotional thing. So, yeah, man, what are you doing? How are you doing? What are you considering doing? Shalom, shalom, Sister Kasadia. Blessings to the house of Ariyahu. May you produce some L's in the earth that look like my brother, that is in his image and is in his likeness. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Any questions, any comments, anything that anyone wanted to share? Because, man, I got a minute. It's only 10:30. I've been sipping green tea. I need to have a segment that will be started. I need to have a segment that's sponsored by Starcast Teas. Sips tea slowly. I need to have a segment that's sponsored by Starcast Teas. Wouldn't mind having some warm Marley blend. That's my daughter's middle name. Yeah, very familiar. Hey, shalom, shalom, Brother Tiger. Tiger Low, blessings to your house, man. I'm just taking questions. I got a minute. Come on. Who got something to say? Is there anything that I missed? Maybe I said something that maybe rubs you the wrong way. Because here's the thing, family. Iron sharpeneth iron. I'm just presenting some things that I'm hoping will benefit you, that will sharpen you to help you to consider things slightly differently from a patriarchal perspective, from a militaristic perspective, because I believe in, I'm a military man. I believe in military science. I believe, study the art of war. I study these things for the purpose of being able to navigate properly. I study I read the book of Joshua. I read it often. I read like the exploits of our fathers who practiced guerrilla warfare and the way that the Father delivered them and the way that they set up their families, the mindset of Abraham being such the consummate patriarch who practiced hospitality, who loved and who honored the people that were in his land, that were in control of his land, the land that the Most High had already promised to him, yet he was still compassionate, caring, and giving. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm on. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Anything else, family? I hope that this gave you some considerations, because out of all the families in the earth, only you have I known, Israel. Have you configured your family where it's familiar to the Most High, where it will be something ancient and not something that's modern? It all goes back to that. It all goes back to that. Jumped in late, but I can say our families have been systematically castrated of the male leader. Absolutely. I agree with that, Aki. Leadership has been denied to our people. And, when you start to talk about patriarchy, they just presume that we as Black men, we could never be discerning, creative, and astute enough loving and compassionate and generous enough to go back and practice the patriarchal model given to us by our fathers, i.e., the Hebrews. Look at the way that they dealt with their women. Look at the way that they dealt with their children. They were not oppressive. They were not mean and brutal and cruel, disingenuous. They didn't do any of those things. They weren't yelling, hollering, beating their children. I don't care what the European has done. I don't draw principles of patriarchy from the European. Maybe you go back on the 4th of July and you look at your founding fathers and the thing that they've done, their slave, them being slave owners. We don't do that. Hold on, family. Did you want to join the channel? I don't see it. Y'all, my wife had to come in the room like, babe, let me in. All right, so that's what I was saying, Tiger. I believe you that absolutely it has been. I grew up in a matriarchy, man, where, well, let's just say in the community where it was very, very heavy toward the leanings of Big Mama. And if you understand that and know that, you kind of did, and the family went the way that Big Mama guided them. Let me get some hearts in the chat. Shalom, babe. How you feeling, beloved?
Hey, from the other room. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You didn't want to come get on camera?
Sure.
You could have came and sat down right next to me.
Threaten me with a good time.
Come on, girl.
I'm coming down the hall, honey.
Oh, I know that this finna go in a whole nother direction. Grab that chair right there, beloved. I got company, y'all. I got company. You can just move that out the way.
Excuse me, pardon me. Excuse me.
Let me come over. Let me slide over.
Hi.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Hey, everyone. I didn't know what you were doing. Why didn't you tell me?
I knew that. So my wife has been out in the garden all day, y'all. Well, not all day, for a lot of the day.
Man, I'm so upset.
We've had some issues with deer coming to eat up our squash, some of our broccoli. What else did they get?
Cabbage. It's okay. It's all right.
Yep, it's going to be all right.
We will not be defeated.
We will not be defeated. No. So I gave her the directive to feed the family, and she stepped up to it. And it's been, just a great thing for us. How has it challenged you in any way?
It's
to try to, because that I'm gonna ask you that question, but that's the commandment that we have is to, build houses, plant gardens, and eat the fruit thereof. And you've taken that sincerely. So how has it challenged you?
What, the gardening?
Yeah, just the gardening.
Just, trying to figure it all out, first of all, because this isn't my thing. I'm going to make it my thing. Second year, I enjoy it. It's very peaceful. It gives me a different perspective about having patience and nurturing that which I planted to feed my family, or, to help feed your children. So it's a test in patience.
Okay, good. So sometimes you're out there talking to them, singing to them.
I talked to them. I've played music for them. Got Henry the Owl on standby. He was doing a good job, but the fight was just too great for him last night. He was outmanned. Yeah,
I mean, we have several deer.
Oh my gosh, they think they own the place.
Yeah, and we bought a what is it, like a block that's supposed to attract them to the block? But I mean, they want to
check on the block. The block may be gone.
Man, they may have eaten a whole block, and that block weighed a good 15 pounds or so.
More than that.
Maybe, yeah.
Because you
maybe
gave 20.
Yeah, you thought that
I
it
was
was
like,
light.
give it to me. Why are you doing like that?
She like, baby, why are you moving like that? So what I did, I gave her the block, and I said, here, babe. And she like, I got it. I said, I'm gonna let go. And then it was like,
I was like, okay, I didn't know, but yeah, they're having their way with that stuff.
yeah.
So what were we talking about before I interrupted? I'm so sorry.
So we're wrapping it up right now, babe. We've been talking about just this kind of like segues right into the whole gardening aspect
We're
about
talking about finances.
yeah, we were talking about finances, but we were talking about finances because the economy and the society in which we're living is changing. So we have to make the changes that's going to benefit our family, make the changes that are prerequisite to ensure that we're not only alive, but that we're thriving. And that goes right into the gardening element that you were talking about. But what other things, because for me and what I advocate for is family. What other tips would you say would be beneficial for maybe even women, for wives, young wives, wannabe wives, whatever? That's a lot.
I know, but relating to what part? I want to
The
say
time
this
that
though
we're
about the
living.
gardening, because directly linking that to finances, because I think, you're end of the boomer generation kid.
Who,
Child.
me?
Your mom.
Me? So we giving out ages now?
No, your mom. Your mom.
I'm just messing with you.
Right. So the generation raised by the boomers were kind of torn between two things. We were, the boomers were directly linked, at least in my family, directly linked to a lot of the agrarian principles.
Yes, they were.
And living off of the land and understanding how to preserve food and, slaughter your own animals and raise your own animals.
We
So
lost a lot of that.
that boomer generation messed us up because they were given all these things, and their perception of wealth, because they apparently looked down at it. It was just so different from their European counterparts.
Yes.
They looked down at it. So the first opportunity to get away from it, they looked at as an act of success. Like it was an expression of, I've made it.
Yeah. I don't need land. I can move into the city. I don't have to put my hands in the dirt. I have, a white collar job. Instead of investing in maybe the systematizing that family business and staying on the land, we opted for integration to move into the city to sell the land. Often, I've heard stories. You told us a story about your father's people, how they had like 200 or 300 acres.
Yeah, my grandfather, let me see, my great grandfather, Lovely Hayes.
Shout out to Lovely Hayes. He had to be a great man for his name to be Lovely, y'all.
Lovely.
Was he tall like your father?
No. My dad was 6'4".
I thought he was about 6'5". That was a big brother.
6'4". But Lovely was a farmer, big time farmer. Lovely lived to be 101.
Oh, that's a blessing.
101 years old too. And despite what my father says, it's not because he had 3 strips of bacon every morning. Like when I would tell him, Dad, you shouldn't be eating pork. My granddaddy lived 101. He had 3 slices of bacon every morning and a cup of coffee. I was like, that ain't what
That is no justification.
That is the exception. Yeah. Okay. So,
right.
But it was probably because he raised those pigs himself too. So it's a little different, but still nasty nonetheless. But he had, hundreds of acres, and that whole, was able to sustain his family, no problems financially, not depending on anyone in the system for anything. And unfortunately, I guess the children were sent out of the home to, be in the world with everyone else. And they started to judge their home life in a way that wasn't favorable. So, the first opportunity to, break free from it, that's what they did. And when he passed away, unfortunately, they sold that land.
Whatever they sold it for is worth 2 to 3 times whatever they got for it easily.
Sold that land.
So that's why we try to buy land and hold on to it, because as I covered previously, you know, they convinced our people that cryptocurrency was going to be the liberation for our people and was going to level the playing field. That never panned out. Go ahead.
Land crypto before it was land crypto. That's
Yeah.
my great grand.
Yeah. Shout out
to
Ariyahu and my brother Banks, Mind
yes.
Over Banks. Yeah, I'm gonna get those brothers on maybe next week. Next week is gonna be jam packed. But maybe I get those brothers on to share some high level understandings of the benefit of land for those that are looking for land, that are looking for a different pace and a way of life, that feel the proverbial walls closing in and the doors closing. So you want to make a different choice, but you may not know how to do that. And that's part of the Go Lightly perspective. See, you know, our show, it can run the gamut because our perspective, like we feel a certain way. I feel a certain way about, and, you know, the scripture tells us not to be ignorant of any topic, not to be ignorant of any matter, small or great. So I make sure that I study to show myself approved, not only in the scriptures, but also in terms of society. I try to stay, you know, well read and be familiar with a lot of different topics so that I'm able to come to get to fuse things together, because you understand the interconnectivity of all things. You follow what I mean? So yeah, we get those brothers on to talk about some land crypto.
I also heard you say something about the finances and, you know, how the African American household.
Yeah, I pulled up the data and statistics.
Was that because did you talk about the impact of the, you know, systems, I guess, promotion of the single?
Yeah, so in the I did pull up the chart where it was this chart here.
I'm asking for a reason.
The answer to your question is yes.
Single women led head of household.
Yep. And I specifically showed that where it's $35,000 for a single woman head of household versus median family income. I'm sorry, married couple income in the Black communities, more specifically, was $81,000. And that's the median when you put, that's the power of multiplication. So that still averages, you know, 40 something thousand a piece versus just that single 35,000. So Go ahead.
So I was asking because, and that's funny because RIP to Mr. Samuels, you know, we weren't Kevin Samuels followers or anything, but
I watched a lot of his content.
A lot of his stuff. I mean, I respected
something that he says.
Some very powerful things.
Absolutely.
Whether or not people wanted to receive it because it was too much in their, you know.
I need a charger.
Too much in their business. You know, reality is often a very difficult pill for a lot of people to swallow.
Okay.
But that whole thing about, you know, the woman being, be alone? You leave me?
Yeah.
About the woman being, you know, able to handle this all alone. She doesn't need a man. I don't need anybody else. That data alone should let you know that, you know, with the cost of living as it is, it's difficult for a married couple to make it. And you want to sit up and don't need a man. You don't need him for anything. You got... What you need, the port? You got 35 ports, but neither of them. Anyway, I just wanted to know if you had touched on that, because that was to me something that...
You good.
No, it was just something that, you know, it just bothers me when I hear that type of rhetoric from women. And there was a post I was trying to share with you a little earlier, but we both had to go and take care of lives, responsibilities today. But there was a post of this woman who was, you know, going in about, you know, and this is a little different because it's not necessarily financial, but it does speak to the whole you know, single woman thing, because this woman in her mind, you know, there's something wrong with a father who wants to arrange his daughter.
Talk about it.
There's
Let me
something
hear
wrong.
what's the details? Come on.
Oh, wow, she was out of her mind. Okay. And you remember when I said I had to tell Aryahu that he had the patience, unmatched patience,
Yes, I remember that.
because he was so, she was just going on and on and on. And I'm like, this lady is out of her mind. But of course,
What made
he's
her-
staying above, he's trying not to engage with this woman, but she's on his post, going back and forth.
Okay.
And, basically the post was absolutely like nothing toxic.
So this was the post that
he said something about your daughter is under you, and
you should be doing something to
and
arrange
it
her.
was something like yikes, very yikes, or something.
Yes.
That was it. It was nothing about it. If it doesn't resonate with you, keep scrolling.
Yeah.
However, she felt the need to say that people were being perverted, talking about child sex trafficking, basically, pedophilia. Nothing in that post that he put said anything of that nature. Not one thing.
So
That says something about her.
it says that her mind is corrupted.
Yes.
That to those that are impure, everything is impure. So even having a conversation, and let me thank you for bringing that up. I read an article. This is going to tie in. I read an article in regards to a woman who had given her 13-year-old daughter to an older man that was like 47 in what they call, part of the culture, being married. We don't, because, people have heard me discuss family. They've heard me discuss arranged marriages and marriages. We don't advocate for anything along those lines. That's not us. That's some wild doctrine that is not part of how we move. So I just wanted to clarify that yes, we have conversations about patriarchy, about monogamy, about polygyny, about arranged marriages, about all of these things. Why? Because that is a part of the culture, but it has to be done decently and in order, not thirsty, not lustful, none of those things. And we would never, I know I would never, I know that you would never advocate for anything along those lines. But when you read things like that, you understand why the woman may have had that type of very visceral, perverse response. But initially, it had to come into her, be filtered through her, then come out of her, which lets you know the operating system or the type of mindset that she had to spew that type of venom.
Right. But the thing is, she wasn't the only woman on there acting crazy.
No,
there was another woman.
It's
and
a common mindset.
He simply just directed it back at her, which was masterful. He said, well, what does your husband think of this? And she has no husband.
Right.
So be quiet. Why are you even over here talking to me?
Right.
But this woman wasn't married either.
Right. Most of them aren't.
But on her third baby.
Very opinionated. Very opinionated.
No problem with anybody and anything that they've chosen to do in their lives. However, no more than you want someone who doesn't believe what you believe to force their opinions on you, that door swings both ways.
It absolutely does.
You tolerate all kinds of differences with the people you work with. You work with all kinds of religions and you have nothing to say on your best behavior. But when somebody has anything different on social media, you feel real gutsy.
Oh, yeah. Keyboard commandos, keyboard warriors. So, when we talk about arranged marriages, it's not exclusive to, what we do. Japanese practice arranged marriages. The Chinese practice arranged marriages. Throughout the continent of Africa, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Zimbabwe, they practice arranged marriages. And I didn't want to just pull European countries because that's not the litmus of validity. We don't validate what we do by, the European perspective, no more than me understanding that my heritage extends from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I don't need to go outside of my culture to get validated by somebody else. I don't need it. I'm not even going to call their name. But they can't tell me or validate me because I already know I have the DNA, I got the blood type, I got the migration patterns, I got the archaeology, and I got the curses
Right.
that we're now transforming into blessings through aligning in the configuration that the Most High told us to align in. And if that's what you want to do, give me a 7 in the chat, family. If that's what you want to do, if you really want to align yourself in a way that reduces the impact of captivity, and that's what we're talking about, is through family. We're trying to reduce the impact of our open enemy having control over our land, over our food, over our water, over our sewage, over, and it's so as a patriarch, there comes a point where you have to begin to practice rulership. How are you practicing? In what capacity? So patriarchs have to practice, wives have to practice, daughters have to practice, sons have to practice. Everyone has to practice their role in preparation for what goes ahead. So you know your role, you know the daughter's role very well. What are you doing to help our daughter, my daughter, be prepared for the times that are upon us?
As far as like just the way to
Just behavior.
I try to model the behavior that I want her to display.
So mothers, are you modeling the behavior that you want your daughter to display?
In my speech, in my body language, in my posture, in my dress, in just my presentation overall, because bitter women raise bitter girls, bitter children. Righteous women raise righteous children.
Yes.
It's not about you beating them over the head with doctrine and, constantly the hellfire and brimstone and, you're going to bust hell wide open. But I won't say nothing like that to my daughter or my son or anybody for that matter, because I don't have that level of, ability to place anybody in any of those places. But my thing is when dealing with my daughter specifically, because that's what you asked me about, I've always tried to push her toward her father.
You have.
From being a really little girl to just being super excited when he would come home. Just, dressing her in little outfits that I could tell maybe not that into. I'd be like, go let daddy see it. And he would faint and just
what I would do.
Fall all over the floor. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then she'd be happy, So it's like that reassurance that came, from her father where it should come from. So, as far as what I've done, I just, and if there was something wrong between us, that's not children's business.
The children should stay in a child's place. And even I have, my father, my mother, they're not married. They'll have words. They may tell me something. I don't go back and forth. I stay in a child's place. I'm like, okay, all right, mama, all right, pops, thank you for sharing. Love you so much. You have to suspend your judgment. If you don't, your children will judge you. They will judge you for the very same thing that you judge your father or your mother for.
It makes them confused.
Okay.
I've had friends that I've had to tell, when they were just explaining something about, their mom and an opinion the mother may have had about the father. And the the person I was speaking to, their perspective was this father was just this wonderful person that could do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the case to her. But, that's how it should be. Whatever, issue they had, he kept it from his daughter.
Right.
And, she was angry, that her mother felt whatever she felt. I was like, well, that's one of his roles. His other role is husband. So only she can, have whatever feelings she has about that. But either way, I just don't think children have any business in adult business.
No.
It creates, because the child's going to love the father and the mother.
Way.
So
Either
you're
way.
really essentially making them choose.
Right.
Between which parent, who am I going to side with here? And putting them in the middle of stuff that they don't have anything to do with.
You're trying to taint the outcome to benefit you because they don't see what you see and they never will see it. You're just trying to gain a comrade so that, that child will side with me. Ultimately, that scheme will backfire on you. So
what does it say? That little experiment will end in tears.
It will end in tears. It will fail miserably. So
boy.
You don't want to be victim of that.
No, you don't want to do that. Don't do that. It's not a good look. It's silly. It causes unnecessary damage to children because they get so confused. The duality is just not healthy.
No.
For anyone.
Right. Very good. All right. Anybody have any questions? Come on, y'all. Appreciate everybody for joining us on a live.
I wanted to circle back to something.
A couple people are still in. If you have a quick question or something you wanted to share, definitely put it in the chat real quick before we tap out. Go ahead. Circle back, babe.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm very late and now I'm just taking over.
Oh, you're doing
good. But I wanted to circle back to the betrothal situation and arrangement situation and conversation.
What you got?
Because that woman also said, these children are not yours.
Their children what?
Are not yours.
Who they belong to then?
I guess they're hers. And she referred to them as little portals.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Right. I thought so too. But either way, they're not yours, blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, the arrangement or the discussion of arranging a child to marriage is an extension of a father's love for the child. No more than I would, open the door and let my 1-year-old run outside across the street to get the mail or whatever. I'm not going to let my husband's not going to let his daughter go out and try to find a mate to marry for the rest of their lives.
And we have zero say-so or input.
That's the biggest decision in life. People look at purchasing a home as the biggest decision. It's not the biggest decision. It's marriage. You're saying you're going to live and stay with this person through everything for the rest of your days.
You're taking a vow.
You're taking a vow. You're not taking a vow with the mortgage company.
But see, here's the thing.
But you give more thought to that.
Here's the thing, that you jump right to the vow aspect of marriage. What you totally excluded is the trial and error period, the heartbreak, the mistakes, the failures to launch, the going back and forth with men that are not qualified, that only want to experiment with you or experiment on you, versus having someone do the research, i.e. your father and your mother, do that research for you to come together to say, hey, this is in your best interest. I know this family.
And if the daughter, which she should, because her mother should have ensured that she does, trust that her father loves her, she should already know this is better than anything that I can do for myself.
Yes.
And that my father has always protected and loved me. Why would this be different?
Why would my father just...
Why would this be different?
Why would they give me to a bum?
Why would they give me to somebody to be abused?
To be abused.
I haven't been abused. I don't know abuse.
Don't know abuse.
So why now?
Has been covered, protected, shielded all of their life, and then you just take your hands off and just allow them to do whatever. I'm not of that ilk. I'm not cut from that
I just
cloth.
wanted to clear up some things because the post clearly bothered me. It was,
It did. I can see.
So I just, the whole idea of pedophilia, just put that to bed. This is a future arrangement.
Future.
There are no child brides. There's no sex trafficking.
No.
It's a consenting adults.
No sex before marriage.
These are situations that are presented. The daughter has the ability to say what?
No.
Thank you.
I don't want to do this. And
no one is being forced to do anything.
No.
So I want to clear that up because that was something, that I saw a few people comment, oh, well, yeah, you need to be able to make a choice for yourself. Why?
Yeah.
You need to just be okay with the choice that's been made.
And you
how about
ask
that?
those ones, well, how have your choices made for yourself? How has that worked out?
It hasn't.
How many relationships in heartbreaks, disappointments, how many had you had in your choosing? Where did you get the prerequisite understanding, knowledge, skill set to be able to choose? Where did you get that from? Okay, you got it from somewhere. Where did you get it from? Who instructed you? Who taught you how to do it? Don't just say, society, because they're not teaching you anything that's righteous. They're not teaching you what to look for. And you ask somebody, well, what are you looking for? Back to your boy, Kevin Samuels, a lot of things that he would ask, well, what do you want? And they would give a laundry list of things and it's centered around a man's ability to provide. Never said, I want him to have a relationship with the Most High, to have integrity, to have long lasting, durable relationships with other men and with his mother, because that's going to be indicative
of how he is with me. Yeah. So, that was a big factor for me, the relationship with your family that I saw. It was very genuine. But, the other point about the betrothal, am I saying it wrong? I said betrothal.
It's okay. Tomato.
The other point that I wanted to, what did I say? The pedophilia. Oh, it's not a focus on over-sexualization of young women.
Uh-oh.
You're over-sexualized. That is why that is your first point of contention.
Right. They view women.
You lead with your vagina. Yoni. Yeah. Ma'am, you've got a yoni. I hope you're watching. I doubt that you are. But no one is policing. She said, you're so busy trying to police your daughter's yoni.
I don't know.
Why would a man even think that way about his daughter, you sick individual? So you are really sick. You need healing. You need help. And this is not for you to come and litter your old messed up existence all over this experience for people.
See, and that's why healing is so necessary for us, that we have to have a place where we can go and get healing to return. Some people really do need therapy from a lot of the traumas that they have experienced in life. Those traumas can cause you to reproduce that traumatic experience, to relive that same trauma over and over, and to prepare your child, to prepare your daughter to respond from a position of trauma when they never had that experience. But that's all that is before you. Therefore, you communicate that to them. And it's coming from a place of damage. And we're producing, broken people produce more broken people. That's why you have to go back to get healed. If you don't have a healthy model, you need to find a healthy model, someone that can assist you in recovering. And I'm definitely not saying that is me.
Well,
I'm not saying that is us.
Right. Alcoholics Anonymous, the first thing you do at your first meeting, I've never been, but everyone knows this. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah. Admission.
You got to admit there's a problem before you can even address and take the steps to fix it.
Right.
So if you're offended if someone calls you an alcoholic, you're not ready to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're offended that someone is telling you that you're on the wrong side of this and that you need to stop whoring out your daughters,
And
because doesn't Leviticus tell you do not whore out prostitute your daughters?
Do not do it. Don't prostitute your daughters. You can't make a whore out of the daughters of Zion. And if you're allowing them to be passed around from man to man, with them proverbially taking it for a spin around the block, putting mileage on it, that's problematic, family. And I know that, I came from that background. I've done it. That does not mean that my experience should be the experience of my son. Now, what we're saying, we don't just teach this to our daughter and not our son. No. I teach it to all my sons. I teach it to my daughter. I teach it to anyone that'll listen, but those that have submitted to me, they gotta get this work, because I did it in terms of being celibate for 2 or 3 years. I did that. You can maintain yourself if you're not out looking at the modern society and taking in the suggestions that they give you of how you should behave yourself, how you should respond. And just look at this mindset that they have superimposed upon us. Look at the data, look at the statistics. Is it beneficial? Are we in a better place financially? No. Are we in a better place spiritually, morally, financially, economically, socially, educationally? Yeah, we may have a few more degrees.
And we're not even humble.
But
we're not even in a position.
Listen to Casadia. What she say?
Find a healthy model.
It's y'all. Thank you.
Right.
Bless you.
We can show you somebody. Right. But I just, it's a sad state that we're in, and only we can change it.
Okay.
Pointing the finger, blaming everybody else for your circumstances when, only you can change it. So, I don't
But you have to know that there's some things that need to be shifted and adjusted.
And Casadia, that was your husband's post I'm talking about. By the way.
Our Yahoo likes to stir the pot anyway.
He does.
He likes he's a habitual pot stirrer.
He does. And he responded to me. I was like, your patience is unmatched, brother. And he was like, then sometimes I just delete their comments and have them wondering, like, what happened to my comment? But
so, all right. Anything else before we go? It's late, y'all. I told you I had a few times, Shabbat Shalom to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. We like to engage. We like to share our perspective on life, on family, on the patriarchal model, to give a different hue, a different shade. I don't think that I'm not the consummate patriarch. I was taught patriarchy by one that is greater. And that's the benefit of it getting initiated into a certain school of thought. You have to have one that already possesses that school of thought. It's no different than academics, than sports, than entertainment. I went to acting school. I had to have a great acting teacher to teach me those things. Some things may come natural, but other things you're going to need to fine tune. So if you don't know what it means to be a wife according to the Israelite tradition and the Hebraic culture, you need to ask someone that is a wife in the Hebraic culture, and then be willing to hear and adhere to what they're saying, not just lip service. And it's going to rub you the right way. When you were challenged from above by our beloved Imagina, I got their books all around here, by Imagina. Did that challenge you on a whole nother level?
What part?
Any part. Any part.
It's just, you have to be intelligent to accept the gifts of wisdom when they come to you. You can't just be in the presence of greatness and not really be self-aware. that, you know, this person whom I'm speaking with has exceeded, you know, me in motherhood, you know, even in career, and
Yeah.
just experience.
And see, that's what I was saying about Elder Murray and
Right.
that
You
the Honorable
can't.
Dr. Murray, where it was hard to find a man that was superior to me, greater than me in every category.
When it wasn't anything that you could refute.
Yeah, I couldn't refute
You know, it wasn't anything where it was like, okay, we might be. No, it's not that.
It's clear
So
and
that's
obvious.
that
So even with
self-awareness.
the self-awareness component, and even with like we talked about with Ima Gina, her exceeding you in being married longer, been in the walk longer, produce more sons, been around it longer. So it's have more education, have more this, have more that. It's like, man, how could I not be willing to listen?
Right. I mean, so if you claim that this is a life that you aspire to have, if this is a life that you're truly after, then you cannot despise those who are greater than you, because you're not finding the way without someone else showing you the path.
And acknowledging that someone is greater does not take anything from you. It actually puts you on a path to being like that person and being able to take what you know and what they know, and then you can stand on their shoulders to possibly be able to see further. But you must acknowledge that this person is greater than me. The goal of every great teacher is to produce a student that will surpass them. And that's what our teachers have done. They've influenced us in that capacity.
And that's the same thing with the success. You're not successful if you don't have a successor. So
that's an Elder Murray quote.
Transcends across, different
I'm
things.
supposed to be the one, and very few people quote Elder Murray more than me. So I don't appreciate that. You just pulled it out. I guess you did it. I did do it.
Oh, they can't hear very clearly. Is it on the live? Maybe it's the live.
Yeah. Oh, yes, maybe please.
Live. It looks clear to us. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll tap back in. But yeah, you're not successful if you don't have a successor. So.
Yeah. So, of course, I was challenged by Ima Gina just to rethink even my role as a wife. I'm a good wife. We've been married for blah, blah, blah years. Blah, blah, blah. And I just always think about this because it's so funny because I hear it so much. We were talking one day and I told you, my husband's my best friend. And she sat there, she listened to me and she said, I want to caution you about that. You look at your friend as an equal.
Yes.
Your husband is not your equal. And those words, even though to you it may not mean that you look at him as an equal, the words themselves can penetrate over time and just kind of erode the right type of relationship where he is in a position of leadership in our home and in our marriage. So I think about that all the time. I haven't said it since.
No, you made the adjustment quickly.
I haven't said it since because it made perfect sense to me. Yeah. I don't want an equal. I want someone who is in control. I want my husband to be in his rightful position.
Man, you're going to get messages from the hot girl hotline that's trying to free you from this bondage mindset, talking about he's greater than you and you want him to tell you what to do. What?
Don't be mad at me. Be mad at the book. I'm sorry. Be mad at the book.
So, but that is the correct mindset, ladies. And it's very biblical. It's very righteous. And you don't appear to be distraught, beaten down, or oppressed. You don't appear to be unintelligent, uninformed, and lacking other options to do anything other than what you're doing. Because those are some of the exceptions and some of the things that people say about women who do line up according to the scriptures, that they just don't have any other options, or they've been abused. What I found is that the women who really understand the patriarchal way are the most intelligent.
I
They
was about
really
to say that. I don't want to
can look out. They really can, hold on. They really can look out at the landscape and see the benefit of moving in this direction, and they can contrast and compare what's being offered by the dominant society, or just let's just say the subculture, and you see that 3/4 of our women are not married and will never get married. 50% of marriageable people are not married in our culture. And out of that 50%, there's another 25% that will never get married. So you don't want to succumb to the victimization of poor information that has been given to us by those that despise our ascent and don't want us to do better. Go
You
ahead.
just have to question, where did this reality come from? Where did it come from? And you don't really remember, where it started. You can't pinpoint. But if you really take a step back from it and separating from, the world as much as possible, and, even in your appearance and where you live, it brings a different kind of mindset.
It does.
Sister Casadia, would you agree that since you're now removed from the city, that it's a different kind of feeling? There's a different kind of peace and a different type of resolve. Because you're not so bathed in all of it. It's not
in
this,
the energy and the vibration and the
everywhere.
mindset.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So
It's like the Matrix. It's all around you.
yeah. So you have to you got to remove yourself from it so you can be healed.
Yeah.
You can be healed. You're damaged by it.
And to put it in scriptural language, he told us to come out from among them and be ye separate, and I will receive you. Come out from among them. And if you come out and then like you went into the city and you told me, baby, I don't even feel safe
I
no
was
more.
so scared. Let me tell you, my husband was being so kind. Thank you so much. I was working on a big project for work, and I just my office is a good distance from home, and I needed to be, there early in the morning and jump back in and just, knock out some things. So it was like, babe, stay down and stay in that area, get you a hotel. And I was like, oh, it's a great idea. Packed the bag, got a couple little things, got a laptop. And I was racing to the hotel because sun was going down. And I got to the hotel and I was like, oh my God, very nice hotel. It's one of the Hilton. Very nice hotel. It wasn't that. It was just in the city.
Right.
And I smelled alcohol from people out drinking, having that, happy hour. And they, the hot girls dressed in their halters. It was a little warm that day. They can't wait to put on the
show some skin,
dukes, And I was like, what in the world? This is so scary. I really felt like I was going to be attacked. I'm not being funny. I really felt like.
some anxiety.
I felt like I was in danger. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. I'm scared to leave. I was like, I just don't know. And I was never that way.
No, you weren't.
I was never that way. It just felt weird. I felt like evil was everywhere. It was the craziest
But
feeling.
you can feel it once you've come out and then you have to reconnect. It just feels different. I always have a certain level of presence of mind and posture. When I go back into the city, it's just even more so than where we are here. Just the vibration, the energy. And if you're sensitive to those things, you'll pick up on it, which is, that's what we're called to be. You have to be able to be aware of your surroundings. Have, practice discernment. Hebrews talks about those that have their senses exercised by way of use. You have to use your senses, refine it, hone it during times of peace out here by yourself. Trusting your discernment, trusting the thoughts that come to you, and know the voice and the mind of the Most High before it gets to the point to where you really, really need it. And it's critical to when something tells you, hey, don't go down that street. You have to be so in tune and have refined that voice that you don't question it. That's what the scripture talks about, having your senses exercised by way of use. Exercise is like a muscle. The more you exercise that muscle, The more you exercise that muscle, the bigger and the stronger it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'll say about that.
I agree.
And it's the Shabbat, man. It's about 11 o'clock. It's time for me to have a glass of wine. So anything else you want to share? Anything else on a thread, on a feed?
Your life.
It's all good. I had a chance to bring in my feminine perspective and share some elevated content. So if that's it, we don't have anything else, nothing anybody wanted to share. We're going to go ahead and tap out. Please take a minute, share the video, share the video, share the video, and subscribe, family. Shalom from our house to your house.
Shalom.
We appreciate you. The Most High bless you.
Shabbat shalom, too.
Oh, yeah. Shabbat shalom. And we'll play the music in the background. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. What music?
Stuck in my past.
About to read